simplify the trig expressions. In part A, we got cosine theta times cosecant theta times tangent theta. So simplify means we want to make it smaller, right? We got a product. Generally, product means we want to cancel something from the top and the bottom, and our answer will be somehow simpler than this. But we don't have fractions, then we can make fractions. So it's a cosecant, tangent. So whenever we want to simplify, we always try to write sine and cosine. Okay, everything in terms of sine and cosine. Okay, so here is already cosine, so we leave that. Cosecant, we know that cosecant is reciprocal of sine, 1 over sine. And tangent, we have sine over cosine is tangent. So tangent is sine over cosine, the quotient identity. So let's do that. This step is same as is equal to cosine theta times 1 over sine theta times sine over cosine. Now we got fractions from the top and bottom cancel, top, bottom cancel. So just 1. Okay. Now let's do part B. Here we got secant theta minus secant theta times sine square theta. Okay, what we can do here is we got two terms, so let's factor secant theta. Okay, I got secant theta, let's factor that. Then we go for sine and cosine, okay. Secant theta from two terms, 1 minus sine square theta. Okay, now we write secant theta is 1 over cosine, because secant is reciprocal of cosine, right? And we can do that. But what can be done for 1 minus sine square theta? Sine squared, we know that square means it should be related to Pythagorean identities. We know that sine square theta, which is sine theta square, plus cosine square theta is 1. And if we subtract, I got 1 minus sine square. So if I subtract sine square theta from both sides, then I get cosine square theta equals 1 minus sine square theta. So 1 minus sine square is essentially cosine square theta. Okay, and we know that secant is reciprocal of cosine. So 1 over cosine times 1 minus sine square is cosine square theta. That's cosine theta quantity squared. Okay, from bottom and from top, we can cancel one copy of cosecant and one copy of cosine, not cosecant. We cancel one copy of cosine from top and bottom. One cosine is left over on the top. So that's cosine theta. Okay, that's the final, because we simplified, and now our final answer is much smaller than the given expression. Okay, let's do part C. So we got something quantity squared plus quantity squared. So we need to get rid of quantity squared. We know that when we have x plus y quantity squared, okay, that is essentially x plus y multiplied by itself. Okay, this is not simply x squared plus y squared. Okay, that's not true. X plus y times x plus y. Now we multiply. Just the FOIL, x times x times y times x, y times y. Okay, let's do that in two places. From the first, we have sine theta plus cosine theta square means multiply this by itself. So let me set that up maybe. But these are almost same. So let's do over here and just do negative sign there, right? So let me that might be more efficient. Sine theta plus cosine theta square means sine theta plus cosine theta times itself, multiply sine square theta, sine theta times sine theta quantity square, which is sine square theta in notation. This one times this is plus sine theta cosine theta. From here now, cosine plus sine, and finally last is like FOIL, first, outer, inner, last, and cosine times cosine, cosine square theta. Okay, so I can simply write that over here, and I can combine here more. In fact, if we look at it closely, these are same thing in the middle, sine theta cosine theta plus sine theta cosine theta. Combined means there will be two copies of sine theta cosine theta, and we got sine square theta plus cosine square theta. Wow, that's a Pythagorean identity. Okay, we know that sine square theta plus cosine square theta, that's 1. So collectively sine square theta plus cosine square theta is 1, and we can combine these two, sine theta cosine theta plus same thing, it's written backward, but essentially two copies of sine theta cosine theta. So we expanded this and got 1 plus 2 sine theta cosine theta, and here is plus, so we don't have to put parentheses around. Okay, if we had negative sign there, we had to put parentheses if we had negative sign, because that negative 1 we had to distribute, but it's not needed in this case. So it's minus, so pretty much I'm going to change here, it's minus. So when we multiply, it's going to be minus, it's going to be minus, 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 plus. Again, first and last, sine square theta plus cosine square theta 1. In the middle we got sine theta cosine theta, another negative sine theta, so it will be negative 2 copies of sine theta cosine theta. So this one, square means multiply by itself, we end up getting 1 minus 2 sine theta cosine theta. Now we can combine like from 2 sine theta cosine theta plus, here is minus, cancel, it's 1 plus 1, 2 numbers, so 2. Okay, that's final.